We are back in 3 Arts Workshop land. It's week 5. In Dialectic, we're learning the first lesson about argument mapping, how to map simple arguments. What is an argument map? An argument map is a simple way of visualizing the logical relationships found in a passage of prose. And as such, an argument map is to logic what sentence diagrams are to grammar. They're simply a tool for visualizing the structure, the relationships, the inherent order of a passage of argumentative thinking. Argument maps reveal to us the total structure of a writer's thinking. They help clarify what we're reading. How do you map an argument? 3 steps. First, underline and number sequentially each independent clause or thought in the passage. Second, identify which clause you just underlined represents the claim and write the corresponding number in your workspace. Then, look through the remaining numbered statements, identify the supporting reasons which back up that claim, and draw the relations to the conclusion, and draw also the relations between supporting reasons. Let's look at concrete examples, because until we look at concrete examples, we won't understand these instructions. Here's a very simple argument. Friendship is good for us because the human is a social creature. Okay, first I want to underline each independent clause or independent thought that's making up this argument. First, there's the assertion that friendship is good for us. I underline that and put a 1 underneath it. And then I underline the next assertion, the human is a social creature. And I put a 2 beneath that. Between these 2 assertions, I decide which is the ultimate claim, what's ultimately being asserted. Number 1. That's what's ultimately being claimed. Friendship is good for us. So, I draw a 1 at the bottom of my workspace. Then, I look at the second statement, the human is a social creature. I see that that's being linked logically to the claim. It's a supporting reason. So to map its relationship to the conclusion, to the claim, I draw a 2 with a line connected to the 1. That's it. This is a very simple one, but you can see we put the claim at the bottom of the workspace, and then we connect the reason, identified by a number, with a line descending to the claim. Let's look at another argument. The superhero film craze will fade because it is a fad. Also, we will eventually run out of existing heroes about whom we can make films. Okay, I didn't say it was a good argument. Let's just consider its structure. We might underline the independent thoughts that make up this argument this way. First, there's the assertion that the superhero film craze will fade. Second, there's the assertion that it's a fad. And third, there's the additional assertion that we will eventually run out of superheroes about whom we can make films. So let's first consider which of these assertions is the ultimate claim. Just as in the last example, we can see that the first assertion is the claim. We put that number 1 at the bottom of our workspace. Now we turn to the second statement, and we see that it is indeed a reason supporting the claim. We draw its relation like this. What about that third one? Well, it's an additional reason for asserting that the superhero film craze will fade. In addition to the film craze being a fad, it's also living on borrowed time because we're running out of heroes to make movies about. So because that's its own independent supporting reason, we draw a connection to number 1 like this. 2 distinct reasons for saying that the superhero film craze will fade. 2 independent lines converging upon this conclusion. Okay, yet another example that will show us another possible relationship between reason and claim. Henry lied, lying is grounds for being fired. He deserves to be let go. If we underline and number the independent thoughts in this short passage, we see this. Henry lied, lying is grounds for being fired. He deserves to be let go. Now, which here is the ultimate assertion? This time, it's 3 instead of 1, so I put 3 at the bottom. 1, clearly, is a supporting reason of 3, so I draw a descending line like this, I think. But then I look at number 2, and I see a problem, because here we don't have a separate reason, really, connecting to 3, not its own separate line of argument. It's a claim that is actually tied to claim 1. Henry lied, lying is grounds for being fired, therefore. So it's not its own separate argument. It is connected to number 1. If we remember our terminology, we remember that number 2 is an example of what we call a warrant. A warrant. The warrant is that idea which connects reason and claim, which in this case connects number 1 with number 3. What idea connects the statement, Henry lied, with he deserves to be let go? Lying is grounds for being fired. That's the connection. That's the warrant. So I don't draw 2 separate descending lines for 2 separate supporting reasons. I draw this, a connecting horizontal line, and then from that connecting line, a descending vertical line to 3. Instead of 2 separate descending lines for 2 separate reasons, 1 and 2 are in conjunction, working to produce, logically, number 3. So that's our third example. In sum, these are the steps once again. We first start by underlining and numbering each independent clause or thought. We then identify which number clause is the claim and put that at the bottom of the workspace. And then 3, we use the remaining numbered statements to identify the supporting reasons and then draw the relationships. Here are 3 kinds of relationships we looked at. Reason plus claim, it's a very simple argument, 2 descending to 1. Or also 2 separate reasons producing a claim, like so. We create those descending diagonal lines. And then in the case where we have reason and warrant together producing a claim, a connecting line, and between those 2 items, in that connection point, a descending vertical line to the claim. The numbers here don't have to be representative of every argument you see. Sometimes the claim will be number 2, sometimes it will be number 3, etc. But here's how you draw those 3 kinds of relationships. So for the quiz, you want to be able to map simple arguments like these ones.